Hi beautiful, welcome to my channel. Today's video is going to be all about the top 5 powders I have found that actually work for dry skin. And the reason I look like this at the beginning of this video is because I figured I don't just want to tell you about them, I actually want to show you how they perform. So I'm going to be all powdered up by the time this video is over. If you, like me, have normal to dry skin and sometimes powders can be a little bit too much on your face, it starts looking cakey or cracky or just dry overall, these 5 powders I'm about to tell you about are fantastic when it comes to drier skin types, and I definitely recommend them if you haven't tried them yet. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, as you can see, I have some creases underneath my eyes because I put on a very hydrating concealer that sometimes tends to crease if you don't set it right away. And so we are going to smooth out the under eyes and set them with some powders that are going to be beautiful on them. And these powders are not going to make your under eyes look crepey, they're not going to make you look older, etc. Let's get the most obvious one out of the way. This right here is a powder that I use almost every single day of my life. I bring it out to set my under eyes pretty much every time that I have to do that in a video. It is my favorite, but it does have some cons that I want to tell you about as well. This is the Under Eye Setting Powder by Mcgrath. This is what the inside looks like right here, and this powder has 2 main cons. Con number 1 is you get this little thing. It is meant to only be used underneath your eyes, so you're not supposed to set your whole face with it, so it doesn't need to be that big. But this little compact retails for $30, which is not necessarily the most affordable, especially because of how much you get in here. And con number 2 is kind of tied to that, and it is the fact that I go through it pretty quickly. Now keep in mind, this is the powder I mainly use. I am obsessed with it. It is the best. I'm about to show you what it looks like underneath my eyes. But since I first tried this powder, I've already gone through 2 full ones, and this is the 3rd one I buy. No regrets though when it comes to under eye setting powders. This is my number 1 recommendation and my most favorite. It's something about it not having a matte finish underneath my eyes. This powder has almost like some sort of a very natural finish to it. I think it probably might have some mica in the formula. I can actually read on that right now. It's actually described as a radiant finish, and it says it's got light reflecting properties that deliver illuminated, lifted under eye effect. I do agree that it is not matte looking at all, and that is definitely one of the main reasons I love it. I don't really find that it has a radiant finish in the sense that it doesn't look super luminous underneath your eyes, which I wouldn't want it to look like that, because imagine having a highlighter underneath the eyes. Not cute. But it does give you this really nice natural luminosity to the under eye area. It sets everything so that it doesn't crease, and it lasts flawlessly underneath the eyes like this. It doesn't make you look drier throughout the day, none of that. Back to it having mica, I just found the ingredients, and it does have mica. Mica creates an even finish and adds sublime radiance to the under eye area. Let's get to applying it. So I'm going to look up and blend my concealer in with my sponge, just making sure all the creases disappear, and then I'm going to grab some powder with my brush and just very lightly tap it right underneath the eye right here. And this is what it looks like. Okay, I lowered the light so you can see it a little bit better. This is what it looks like once it's set. So as you can see, it doesn't have the glowy finish anymore. It has more of a natural finish to it, but it looks really nice and bright underneath the eyes. No more creases, and it keeps the concealer from creasing throughout the whole day. So I absolutely love this Mcgrath Under Eye Setting Powder, and I usually don't only use it underneath the eyes. I use it in the T-zone area, so a little forehead, nose, and around my mouth. I find that it doesn't make me look dry in any of those places, and I just can't say enough good things about this one. I highly recommend it if you have dry skin or if you have trouble finding a powder that works well to set your under eyes. So let's talk about another powder that it's a lot newer in my collection and I absolutely love when it comes to setting my under eyes. And this is a much more affordable formula. Let me explain why. The powder I'm talking about is the One Size Beauty powder, and this one you can use all over your face. Yes, even if you have dry skin, it actually works nicely for all over your face, and you can also use it underneath the eyes. I actually really enjoy using this one underneath the eyes, and we are going to try it under this one, which is why I didn't powder it with my Mcgrath powder. Now the reason this is a much more affordable option is because of size versus price. So for the Mcgrath powder, and just to be clear, this is my favorite for my under eyes, I paid $30 for 0.14 ounces, and with the One Size Beauty one, they have options when it comes to sizes. So for this little one, you get 0.23 ounces, which is already substantially more than what you get in this one, and you only pay $16 for that. And then they have an even more affordable option if you're looking at weight versus price, which is their full-size One Size Beauty powder. That one has 1.2 ounces and it retails for $30. So 0.14 ounces for $30 versus 1.2 ounces for $30. It's a huge difference when it comes to weight versus price. Now do keep in mind that this is a very lightweight powder, so maybe the formulation of this one just generally weighs less anyways. However, there's no arguing that the One Size Beauty one is more affordable. Anyways, let me show you what this looks like. So I have the little one because I wasn't sure if I was going to like it or not, and now that I've had it for a few months, I can definitely confirm that it is one of the best powders I have tried. I'm going to use it with the same brush. I'm just going to pat it in there. I'm going to not use that much product. I feel like if you have dry skin like me, baking is not an option for us. That is just way too much product on our faces. So my best recommendation is that you get a small natural haired brush, and that with that brush you apply your powder very, very lightly. And after we talk about this One Size Beauty powder, I'll give you some brush recommendations. So I'm going to make sure that the under eyes aren't creased over here either. And I'm going to lightly powder my under eyes with the One Size Beauty powder right here. And this is what it looks like. As you can see, the Mcgrath side does look just slightly brighter and the One Size Beauty side does look slightly more matte. However, when it comes to like thickness or how thick it might look on my dry skin, there's not too much of a difference. So I do really enjoy using both for the under eye area, and the under eyes look really nice and smooth with both options. As far as brush recommendations, I have two brushes that I find work the best for me when it comes to my under eye setting powder, because they are both pretty small, kind of pointed natural hair brushes, and so they apply just a little bit of powder. They have super soft hair, so they don't pack too much of a punch. They're just amazing to set your under eyes with. This one right here is actually my #1 favorite because of the shape of it. I just really love how nicely it gets in the inner corner of the eye right there. And this is the Wayne Goss #3 brush. Of course, I'll have all of this linked down below, so if you're interested in any of the powders or brushes, check the links in the description. So Wayne Goss #3 is amazing, and a bit of a more affordable option. This one right here is a Refer brush. This is the Refer #18, and as you can see, it also fits really nicely on the inner corner of the eye. It's a really nice brush to set your under eyes with. Now that I tried them both underneath the eyes, I can say that I also like that this one is less dense, and I feel like when it comes to setting my under eyes, less density means it packs less of a punch when it comes to grabbing product, and so I do really love this one, but this is a close second choice. Now when it comes to dry skin, I usually recommend setting the center of the face, setting the under eyes, but not setting all over, because honestly, if you're dry like me, you don't need it. Our makeup is going to last all throughout the day without getting overly shiny. Just setting the center of the T-zone area because our skin being dry doesn't produce as much oil. However, some people just prefer to set all over their faces, and if you are one of those, keep in mind that the One Size Beauty powder is absolutely perfect to set not just the under eyes but also all throughout the face with. Now, sometimes I myself am in the mood to set my whole face with powder. Maybe I want to look more matte. Sometimes, depending on like what bronzer I'm going to use on top, I might want to set around the face so that the bronzer and blush glide better and blend better or whatever. So I do have other powders here that I want to share with you that you can totally use all over your face, even having super desert dry skin like me. One that I have used for so long is the Huda Beauty baking powder. I have mine in the color Pound Cake, and you get a lot of product in here. This is very finely milled. Every powder I'm talking about today is very finely milled, which I feel like definitely contributes to the fact that they work for drier skins. Now, this color Pound Cake for my skin tone is ideal for all over the face. However, when I put it underneath my eyes, it could sometimes be a little bit too yellow or too dark for my under eyes. It basically takes away the brightness. Sometimes if I use a concealer that is like way too light for me, I set it with this powder so that it makes it a little bit darker, and then it makes it like match to my face better. Anyways, today we are going to use this one on the forehead area, and I'm going to apply it with my Refer number 30 brush. I have some powder right here, and I'm just going to work it into my brush, tap it in, and then right here in the center of the face. Did you see how the shininess went away? It was a lot more shiny right in the center of my forehead when I started. Take a look right there, see? So now it looks natural glowy, not like a oil slick type of glowy. If you want it to look even more matte, just grab more powder and go over it a second time, because I did use very little product the first time around. See? Take a look right there. I'm getting closer to the camera so that you guys can see how, even though it took the oily look from my glowy foundation away, my skin does not look dry even underneath that powder. Now, keep in mind, I didn't bake with it or left it on baking for like minutes or whatever, because part of me applying powder with my dry skin is knowing that if I do any of those things, then it's not going to have the desired effect, and it is going to make my skin look dry. But that is the Huda Beauty powder right there on my forehead, and you guys can see how natural that looks. And it's so thin that with the right color, you can definitely apply this one underneath your eyes and it's going to look beautiful. I actually think that this powder performs very similar to the One Size Beauty powder. It's just that the One Size Beauty is translucent, so I prefer it for my under eyes because it doesn't change the color of my concealer, while the color Pound Cake from Huda can sometimes on my skin make things a little bit more yellow. However, I do love the formula of both of these, and I highly recommend them if you have dry skin. I was just comparing prices, and the One Size Beauty one is actually a little bit more affordable than the Huda. With the One Size Beauty, you get 1.2 ounces for $30 versus with the Huda one, you get 0.71 ounces for $34. And Huda does have a mini version of this one in which you get 0.21 ounces for $19 versus the mini version of the One Size Beauty powder, which is 0.23 ounces for $16. So this one is slightly more affordable. The next loose translucent powder that is absolutely beautiful for dry skin is from Hourglass, and it is the Hourglass Veil Translucent Loose Setting Powder. Now, if you were to ask me what is the best setting powder for dry skin to set all over the face with, this right here would be my answer. However, However, I cannot make this one work for underneath my eyes. I feel like it sets the rest of my face, like forehead, cheeks, around the mouth area, all of that, it sets it to perfection. It takes all the shine away. It looks really nice and natural. It doesn't make you look dry. It doesn't make you look crepey. It is fantastic if you have dry skin for all over the face, but it just doesn't work for my under eyes. And my friend Nicole just told me that she can't use it for her under eyes either. She has to use something different for her under eyes, but that this is her favorite translucent setting powder for all over the face. And I agree, it is beautiful, it is amazing, but the reason it doesn't set the under eyes, by the way, is that I put on my concealer, I smooth it out, I set it with the Hourglass translucent powder, and 30 minutes later my under eyes are creased. I don't know why, but it just doesn't help with creasing underneath the eyes. My under eyes totally still crease if I set them with this one. But for the rest of the face, it is absolutely beautiful. So let's put it on. And this one, by the way, is one that even if I wanted to like bake my face with it, like if I wanted to just go on with a sponge and put it all over, it is so good for dry skin that even if I apply a lot and then just take off some, it's going to still work for my dry skin. It is just amazing. However, I'm just going to buff it in with a brush over this side of my face right here. Still using my reference number 30. Take a look at this flawless cheek right here. You can see how it looks nice and glowy still. Not too dry, nothing thick, nothing crepey underneath the eyes. It just looks beautiful and it stays looking this beautiful all throughout the day. It doesn't change, it doesn't get drier. It is like the best powder when it comes to setting all around the face, if that is something you're into, because it just has this really nice, almost luminous glow to it, even though it's a powder. It's amazing for dry skin. It just does not work for the under eyes. So I feel like if I were to recommend two separate powders, one for all over the face, one for the under eyes, these right here are my favorite. I would do the Pat McGrath for under the eyes and this one for all over the face. But then we have the Huda Beauty one and the One Size Beauty one, which you can use for both things, and they look really beautiful. But if I'm being extra super picky, I do prefer these. Now we do have one last powder to talk about in a category that I haven't even mentioned yet, and that is a pressed powder. And my favorite pressed powder is this one right here. Very bougie, I know, the Gucci powder, but hear me out. It's amazing, okay? I have my Gucci powder in shade all 3, and this is a matte finish powder, and it is not a translucent powder. They actually have different shades of this for different skin tones. Shade 3 is the one that works the best for me. I wouldn't be able to like set my under eyes with it because it would be a little bit too dark for that, but it's really nice for setting my face. It adds just a little bit more coverage and it looks like skin. So I'm going to use a little bit of a more dense brush. This one is my reference number 24. And I still haven't powdered this side of my face, so I'm just going to go in with this one and I'm going to buff it onto this side. This one has a pretty strong scent. The Huda Beauty one also has a pretty strong scent. I should have mentioned that. And check it out. This is what it looks like right here. If you're someone who mostly has dry skin but maybe gets a little bit shiny throughout the day and you want something to throw in your purse so that you can touch up with it, this right here would be my recommendation for that. This is something that, first of all, is going to look extremely glamorous if you have to pull it out of your bag for a little quick touch up, and besides that, as you can see, even on my super desert dry skin, it looks really natural, just modifies things a little bit. It even adds a little bit of coverage in case you lost some throughout the day, and overall it is a really beautiful powder with a very bougie packaging. I'm back and I finished up my makeup on my eyes, the new Angelica, Nyqvist and Odin's Eye palette. Anyways, those are my top 5 favorite powders that work for my super dry skin. If you, like me, have super dry skin and there is a different powder that works wonders for you, let us know down in the comments section. section below. If you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. If you're new to my channel, please don't leave without subscribing. I love you guys so much. Thank you for being here, and I hope to see you back in the next video. Bye.